actually being recorded. Which, of course, as of right now, it's being recorded.
Yay!
The
butter industry is dead.
The butter industry is dying. People are going to listen to start the show and we're going to hear butter industry. They're going to go, what the heck is going on here? Butter industry. And it's all because of my co-host. His storm that he's after him is going to cause trouble for the butter industry.
Yep. Paula Dean's restaurant in Georgia will go.
Because that's what the GFS has it going to now. It's to Savannah, Georgia.
Yep.
Pretty much along the coast, Brunswick, Savannah, and up in there. So, but that's what we'll talk about the Category 4 Hurricane Matthew that's going on. And what we were supposed to talk about, because we were going to do a second show last week, but Matt got
pulled away.
He got pulled away to doing sandbags, and then we're going to have to talk about that.
Yep.
They survived a puddle. They survived.
A puddle.
Everybody survived. There were some complaints about some businesses that they're like, screw you, the water, you'll just get water. Well, and then there were some people mad about that. But anyway.
Yeah.
Can't save everybody, but oh well. They'll probably be moving out of Cedar Rapids anyway. So this is the Enormous UFO Superstar Show number 15. We'll have to come up with another title for this show because unfortunately we're getting to the time. Okay. I don't know why.
I'm doing the 1-5.
Oh. I thought he was going to say something about way up or something. But we're going to have to change the name of the show because we're heading into the winter season, and I don't think we can really call this the Enormous UFO Superstar Show if there's 20 inches of snow on the ground. Maybe we'll have to call it.
Why can't we?
We'll have to call it the Enormous UFO Snowstorm.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I like that.
Or
we got a title.
The Enormous Unidentified Snow, or something, whatever. It's an enormous unidentified snow amount. Well, whatever.
Enormous UFO blizzard.
Because we're doing this on the 30th of September. This is a Friday. We would sometimes do this on Saturday, but unfortunately on Saturday, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on because Pumpkin Fest is going on in Anamosa, which is the time when where Matt lives, he is now surrounded by porta potties.
Actually, no. There's only one across the street, and it's one of those giant handicapped ones.
Which means he's surrounded by porta potties.
Actually, I will not be surrounded by porta potties tomorrow because I am picking up and leaving town tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you better be leaving it like before the crack of dawn. The road closes at 6.
I'm gonna be leaving about 10, but my motorcycle is parked around back, so I won't have to worry about getting out.
Yeah, he's skedaddling out of town, and he's not going to be around until after 10 o'clock. Hopefully he's going for a
while. We might be getting out. We might be getting back by 10 p.m. if we decide to leave because we have a hotel room.
He's going to go.
Going to the Wisconsin Dells tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, he didn't invite me.
Well, it's a veterans event. One of the members of the veterans group that I'm a part of runs a national organization called 22 No More. And they are having a festival up there this weekend. And him and I and one other person are going to be the guest of the national recording artist Uncle Cracker tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, yay.
But we're going to go up there and interview him and stuff. We get to hang out with him and his crew and the other bands that are opening up for him.
Well, now this...
And,
yeah, that sounds more fun than being around pumpkins.
But I really want pumpkin pie. I really want pumpkin pie.
Yeah. Now, what the interesting thing is, you're gonna,
pie for Uncle Cracker.
yeah. Are you gonna now? Now this is connected somehow. Are you gonna go? You're taking the motorcycle, I assume, because it's
correct.
It's only going to be about a 2-hour, 45-minute ride. About how long it takes for you to get to the Dells.
Yep. Yeah.
So the first thing you're probably not going to pay attention to is the leaves. Because the leaves, and this is something we'll discuss, this will be the first thing we'll discuss. We don't need to talk about a hurricane yet, because it's still in the Caribbean, it's not hitting anything. That, if you notice, the leaves this year, the color is taking forever to change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've also noticed on Twitter that even in the Appalachians, or Appalachians, if you want to be particular, they're about
regionally correct.
They're about 1 to 2 weeks late. There,
because it's wet,
and it's been really warm this month in September, and I don't think I've seen very many good photos coming out of New England either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I haven't.
No, because when I was in New England back 4 years ago, it was in May when I took Amtrak. I went through the Mohawk Valley. And don't get me to sing that, because Matt wasn't around. Now, people who've been watching the old Polygon show for years would know if I start mentioning Mohawk Valley that I'm going to start singing the Mohawk Valley song. So I'm not going to sing it for Matt, because Matt doesn't know that, because he would wonder what the heck. But I always thought that would be the perfect place to go to look at leaves, would be the Mohawk Valley between Utica down to Albany. And all around that area, around there, and up into the Adirondacks. Oh, because I drove that coming back from Connecticut back toward Milford, New York, which is southeast of Utica by about 40 miles. Oh, the twisty roads. I took pictures. It's so cool. So, but that would be awesome.
The only good pictures I've seen yet, and I've only seen a couple, the only really good pictures I've seen yet of fall foliage are coming out of like International Falls, Minnesota, Thief River Falls, Minnesota, places like that. They're just now starting to get a halfway decent color.
Yeah, and I don't think you're gonna. It's probably gonna be like Columbus. I always think of Columbus Day weekend as the weekend where it peaks around here. I'm almost thinking it's gonna be probably a week after that. But I wanted to bring this up. This has nothing to do with the thing, but I wanted to bring this up because this was one of the things that this was on my trip back from up to Milford, New York from New Haven, Connecticut. This was taken in May of 2012, so this is not fall, but this would be a perfect spot to see fall leaves. Is right here.
Ooh. Except for the weird dead person cross.
Yeah,
totally kills the mood. There we go. That's bueno.
Yeah, this was off of Highway 23. Gosh, how many miles west of the Hudson? Because if you look at this picture, the Hudson River's to the right or to the east, because you're looking north. And this road goes, whoops. Yeah, that's the Macy's flagship store in New York.
Cool.
But
I've been to that Macy's.
But yeah, there's evergreens in here, but this is so cool because I like the being up there. I'd always want to go up here for fall, but I went up there in the spring, so well. But the interesting thing about this trip, and there is a connection, I ended up going through areas that were really hit hard by a hurricane. I think it was the year before, or the year before that. I can't remember which one. So this was like
really?
I think 2010 or 2011. There was bad. Well, in 2010 or 2011, there was a bad hurricane that went up through New England and dumped a lot of rain. There was a lot of flood damage, and I still saw some of it up there. Going through a lot of these hills, you see, there's a lot of these creeks that run real fast. So I did see that, but we're going off topic because I just wanted to make a mention of that with leaves and whatnot. I have old pictures of fall leaves, but Matt and I might do a fall foliage tour thing. I don't know. We'll see. But
I think that's a great idea. I think we need to go up to like Guttenberg.
oh no, okay. Now you're bringing back this again. I'm gonna have to bring up pictures again because okay. Back to this. Okay, we're going back to pictures. I'm sorry, but we may get to the hurricane, and we may get to the storm.
I feel like I'm thinking I'm stepping into a minefield here.
But the one thing is, and this was back in 2011 when I went leaf peeping. So let me go leaf peeping. This was okay. So then there's this picture. This was on October 9th, 2011. Look at the leaves, and most of them look like they're already gone.
I remember that year being really windy.
Yes. Now,
that's probably why.
Now, let's see if Matt can guess where this was.
What, this picture right here?
Yes.
That you're showing?
Yes.
Got to be somewhere.
It's
up
in
Northeast Iowa.
Yes, it's in Northeast Iowa.
That's what?
It's in Northeast Iowa, so you got that. But I'm going to keep going because all these pictures, the next few are in the same place.
Okay. What is that? What are those things off to the left?
Those red things?
Besides the guy wires. Yeah. Well, today.
Do you give up?
Yeah.
You're looking. Those red things are the ski lifts at Sundown. This is Sundown Mountain.
Oh, really?
Because that sign there says ski. It says ski patrol. It looks like, but.
Oh yeah, I can't. If I'd have been able to see, I'd have totally been able to.
And then that's field. That's a mountain, or that's a hill. Those are trees. That's in Wisconsin, by the way. That's
where, Wisconsin?
Yeah, here. This is the overlook south of Guttenberg.
Okay.
And that's the best picture. Here's the funny thing. This was in 2011. I have a picture in my archives, a photograph taken at the same spot. I think it was in 2001 or 2000. It looks eerily similar to this still.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, the color. This is where the color's really good is right here. If, for anybody who wants to know, this Mississippi. I'm sure everybody would know that's the Mississippi River. But yeah, we might do color stuff. But then, okay, I'm gonna do this. Some years the color is not very good, and I'm gonna bring up one year where the color was not very good. And I went back to the same place again. So for those that would want to know, I did go back to the same place. Now I'm gonna see if the pictures are here. I don't want a picture of that. No. It may not be here. It should be here because it.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna complain. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see if it's in here.
Can Jeff find the pictures?
Now, if Jeff doesn't find the pictures, Jeff's going to be mad.
Jeff's going to be SOL.
Oh, here they are. They're in a separate. I didn't put them in a folder. Jeff's stupid. Jeff's stupid for not putting them. Okay. Now you remember this picture. This picture. This is from 2011.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to exit out because we're going to get rid of that one. Now, I'm going to bring you the same location. This was, I think, in 2014. And you're going to see the difference. It's the same place.
Wow.
And I'll tell you this right now. You see this in this haze?
Mm-hmm.
That's rain. It was raining that
Mhm.
day. And so, but this,
There you go.
see these pictures? This is where if Matt and I do something for fall foliage, we're going to go here. This is outside of
Yeah,
Bright
I
Box.
agree.
This is outside Bright Box.
It's outside of where?
Bright Box.
Oh, okay.
The restaurant that burned down lots of times. This is there's an scenic overlook just west of the restaurant, and this is the overlook. This is what you see. And I'll tell you this thing goes straight down. That farm is probably at least 300 feet below you. And it ain't that far ahead of you. The Mississippi, you can see the mouse is right here.
That's awesome.
But you see the color, I mean, yeah, these are good pictures. And then there's this. See, there's the rain in the distance.
Yep.
Oh, there's my old truck. That used to be my truck. Oh, I took this picture and I remember taking this. This was at this point. This was my old apartment building. And this was, I think, 24 hours later.
Oh, wow.
Before, after. And this was 24 hours later. That was when we had the first snow a couple years ago, and there's my truck.
Covered in snow.
Truck's not there anymore because now that's not there, but too bad. But yeah,
now it's a VW.
What? Yeah, I have my full.
And now it's a VW. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
Wait a minute.
I forgot how to do it. You got this.
Oh yeah.
Remember that commercial?
Oh well, we gotta mention this too because since we had a serious Polygon last week and then the episode before that, Matt and I did meet each other. And in fact, we decided we wanted to meet each other lots of times, evidently, because we'll get into this because this is the fun. Because we want to make the serious part at the end. Because we'll do the storm thing, and then we'll talk about what happened with the flooding, not much, and then we'll talk about the hurricane, which will do a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Okay, so we did a show 2 weeks ago, and we were like, la la la, whatever. It was a funny chit chat show, the show number 14. The next day, I then met Matt. We drove around in my Volkswagen. He wasn't wearing a safety belt. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, I'll tell you that. I kind of was like...
For a little while.
Yeah. Anyway, so then Monday comes around. 2 days later, severe weather is in the forecast, so we start driving. So we leave because they issued a tornado watch, which we come to find out they shouldn't have issued one. Probably at least severe thunderstorm watch, maybe tornado watch. No. So then we start driving around. So we go to the first storm. Okay, remember the storm. This was the one that went towards Cedar Rapids, and it was there was the one that I think they issued the tornado watch for because it was the only storm in the watch at the time.
One of five.
Oh yeah, because we number them later. So prepare yourself. We've numbered them. The first storm we didn't number because we didn't number the first one. We just called it the storm. Just wait.
Yeah, it was the only storm on the board.
Yeah, we call it the first one, but we did. But that's not what we're going to call. We're going to call it the A, although we named one A later. But so
yep,
we drove
Let's
north.
Confuse them even more.
Yeah, we drove north, which was stupid because then we had to turn back south to try to get under it because it started right turning, but then it dissipated. Never seen a storm dissipate that quick. The first one we ever saw.
I don't think dissipate's the right word. I think the best word was die the most quick, violent, horrible death a storm can die. Went from looking solid to having zero updraft underneath the anvil in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen that before in my life.
Yeah. And so But there was other storms developing, thank God. So
much to our chagrin.
Yeah, much to our surprise, we had more storms. But so we had some storms lining up to the east of Des Moines. So we decided, let's go. So we bought gas in Williamsburg, outside of Williamsburg at the Amanas on the interstate. And then we drove down. And we drove down. Now we're gonna start taking pictures. So just prepare yourself. Because remember,
this is where the pictures come into play.
Yeah. So I'm sure Matt would remember this mainly for the fact that this was the road that we took to get to Williamsburg, if I'm remembering this right.
Yeah, because I remember we turned on after we got gas instead of turning left to get back on the highway.
Yeah, we went south and then turned west on this road. So this was looking west toward Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Now what we had was Storm 1. If my mouse is being seen, this was Storm 1. We started numbering them. Storm 1 was this one. Then the truck. Storm 2 was this one. There was a Storm 3. We have a lot more on Storm 3 later. But you can see updraft really good. You can see the anvil really good. The anvil coming off Storm 1. Storm 1 was piddly. I wish we'd had pictures of radar. I should have just taken your thing from Radarscope and said, take pictures. It's like we should have done that.
Yeah, right. I should have done screen grabs. I think I have a screen grab.
Yeah, I know you have. I know you have it from when we were coming back, because we're gonna have lots of fun when Matt decided to. Matt and I started going crazy for seeing lightning so far away. But Storm 1 was piddly, so we were gonna go more towards Storm 2 because I think Storm 2 at this time was severe. It was severe warned.
Yes.
And this was.
I do not. I thought I had a screen grab of that. I do not. I fail.
Uh-oh. Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
If I remember this was, I think, this was after Storm 2 had died. And this right here is the sharp anvil of Storm 3.
I think you're right. Yeah.
This is Highway 149, somewhere around Hedrick. We talk about Hedrick later. Because see, this is where we saw that. Yep, and I haven't seen an anvil look this way like this in a while. So
that looked good.
And you saw little storms trying to form still, because they were reforming, trying to. But this storm ended up being the storm.
Yep.
And we had the beaver tail, the inflow going into this. This was one of the best storms I'd seen in a while.
Structurally, yeah.
Yeah.
It looked good.
And this storm right turned so much, it decided it didn't want to move to the east. It wanted to move to the south, and it was drifting. But it seemed like it was drifting further and further away from where we were, so we ended up, remember this picture? This was in Missouri. This was the first thing we saw when we left Unionville, Missouri. The storm was just sliding into, I think it was Putnam County, Missouri.
Yep.
From Wayne and Appanoose County in Iowa.
Yep.
And this was here. Now, here's the interesting thing. I did see this later that I don't know if you saw or not, that they reported a funnel cloud in Wayne County, somewhere around Allerton.
Really?
Now, here's the interesting thing. They said it was halfway to the ground at the time. Whether or not that was true or not, we don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to skip ahead before we go back. When we were driving back out of Hicktown, we were coming back up down that gravel road, and we saw all this damage everywhere.
Yeah,
that was roughly about where the funnel cloud was. So take what you will. There may have been something very suspicious there.
It could have been. I could have been weak tornado.
I would take a bet that there probably was, at least where we were on the road we were on, given the amount of damage, seemed to be fairly, fairly remote. It was only in like a small area. Yeah, there was trees and branches down, but then when we were seeing larger branches down in very smaller areas, it seemed rather suspicious.
Yeah, and it seemed like that some of the branches and stuff weren't all facing the same direction when they hit the ground.
Yeah,
which leads me to believe it's ground circulation, which is tornado.
And this would have been, 3 miles north of the Missouri border, roughly about 5 miles north of Powersville, Missouri, roughly, at this point. Because there's the other wall cloud we saw. That's 136. Yeah, I looked at this after the fact, and I'm like, it's fuzzy. And then we're back to this picture because the rest of these are videos, which means I'd have to then get the video thing out. So, but we went through the storm. We car punched, which we shouldn't have done. There was more positive lightning in that storm I can ever remember. It's been a long time since I saw lightning look like that. Yeah, I would say that I wasn't, quote, scared. I was more scared about being hit by lightning. I didn't care if we were going to have a tornado. I was more scared about getting electrocuted. It's like, oh, we could have golf ball sized hail. I don't want to get electrocuted.
No matter. I'm worried about the lightning.
Yeah, but that
storm did absolutely go bonkers with lightning.
Yeah.
And it continued well into the night.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't decide to, because mind you, we didn't decide to leave till what? 2:30, 3 o'clock? Somewhere in that time frame?
Yeah, when we went to go chasing.
Yeah, before we left here.
When we got to that storm in Unionville, it was still, the storm made it really dark. It was still, 45 minutes before sunset? But, because when we went into Powersville, because we had heard there was damage there, which we didn't see any.
Yep, we didn't see it.
But, there was a lot of lightning.
To say the least.
To say the least.
To say the least.
And I'm going to see if this is going to work or not.
Oh, are you trying to get video?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get the video. Okay, that's nice. I don't care if I have new types to open this stuff with. Come on. Fine, don't show me the video. I didn't want to see your videos anyway. I don't think it's liking me doing this when Hangouts are on. Because I have the AVI file. Well, then screw that. I know what I can do. Just a minute.
Oh, here we go.
I look up the AVI file. I have it on YouTube now. But I think YouTube is not going to like me. So let me go to my YouTube channel. This is going to be real cute because the last time I did YouTube on a Google Hangout, it did not like me. So let's see.
Blow up the Hangout.
Okay. Okay. Yes, it's telling me I'm live now.
Yay!
Okay, telling me this on my thing. Okay.
We're live.
Now I gotta make. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay. I gotta make sure I'm doing this correctly. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Looks good, actually.
And I have this. I've edited this.
Oh, you added edits. Cool.
Yeah, I did this in Sony Movie Studio. But look at this. Oh, I stopped it right at that lightning bolt. But look, even then, you could still see the crispness, the storm, the anvil blowing off, kind of blowing out. This is where, because we're going to probably go right to the. It almost looks like when you look at this, it's like the blow off from a hurricane, that it kind of vents itself out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the thunderstorms always have to vent themselves out. So the anvil pretty much kind of is what you would call like
The exhaust.
Yeah, it's the exhaust system for a thunderstorm, and you see it on a larger scale with a hurricane.
With hurricane.
The bands of clouds coming off of it. So, I mean, this storm, there was times when I wasn't taping that the lightning was even better. And of course, my camera is diddly crap taking video. And of course, I was in Matt's truck taking this. And some of the
you got that one.
Yeah, it's really bad. This was funny because where it was, yeah, Matt had his windshield wipers on. We ended up going outside later after Matt decided to go. Oh, that one was really good. But
Yeah,
look how lightning here and blue sky. It was that creepy. And this was looking southwest.
Mm-hmm.
It was doing the same thing above us, above our heads. And Matt would reiterate with my feeling, it was thundering the whole time.
Yep.
Which
it never ceased.
No,
it never ceased the whole time.
Eventually, until the storm got a little further away, then the rumbling got. But
I think that's just because the sound couldn't physically carry any further.
Yeah.
That's my thinking.
But I mean, I could keep playing this, and it was doing this the entire time we sat there. We were there on this street for what, 35 minutes? Because this was later, because this was about 15 minutes later, and of course now it's completely dark, so my camera is crap at nighttime, but I mean, you can still see the lightning once in a while, but it kept, I mean, it was this vivid. So, I mean, you don't get storms looking like this. And this was only severe warned, mind you.
Barely.
It did have a tornado tank on it in Iowa. But,
yeah.
I mean,
but this thing was barely severe warned at that time when that last clip was shown.
Well, this storm
the warning only warned for quarter 60.
Oh, yeah.
Quarter size hail, 60 mile an hour winds.
As I called it with Matt, I called it minimalistic. Because anything that's 60 and a quarter that's 60 and quarter sized hail is called minimalistic. Because it's the minimum it has to be severe. You can't say, ooh, it has lightning. I mean, you look at that and you'd say severe. Well, it was, but not because of that.
Kind of.
So,
it was only kind of severe.
But when we drove back, this is
when things get really interesting. We start driving back.
By the way, then we got stuck on going on detours because we didn't know where we were going. Jeff, the geography person, and got lost in Wayne County.
We start driving back, and of course, us being the weather nerds that we are, we start looking back. Not me, because I'm driving, but Jeff over there keeps looking back, looking at the storm, and he keeps seeing lightning, keeps seeing lightning. And I'm seeing flashes as I'm driving. I'm seeing flashes light up the entire sky behind me.
Yeah.
Kind of like this light is right now.
Yeah.
It's lighting up the entire sky behind me. And so we get I think we stopped the first time, 30, 35 miles away?
The first time we stopped, I think, was when you had to buy something to eat in Centerville, and it was by that point the storm was probably 50 miles from us,
and
it was still lighting up
town, and granted we were still in the middle of town. We were in the middle of that town with all the lights that go with being in the middle of that town, and it was still lighting up the sky very well.
Yeah, and you could see bolts.
It was really easy to pick out.
You could see the bolts easily coming out of the cloud too, and even from cloud to ground too.
Yep.
But we kept seeing it up Highway 5 to Albia. By then the storm was about 70 miles, and we still could see it. We could still see some bolts at that point. And the storm was, you could still see the anvil, even though it was nighttime, but you could tell, you could see the anvil. And we were driving to Ottumwa on 34. The moon was rising to the east, because the east, there were no more storms. That was the only storm left. There was a few storms that were developing way to our northeast that we couldn't see. Which brings
way
up
up
another
in Iowa, Wisconsin.
Yeah, but we're going to get to that after. We get to Ottumwa. It is still lightning to our southwest because the storm is now turned so much, it's now moving slightly west of due south. And it's kind of trying to go along parallel to I-35 toward Kansas City at this point. And we went north of Ottumwa. Now we were getting to the point that Kansas City was closer to that thunderstorm than we were, and we could see the lightning still. It wasn't until I kept looking. Matt was like, I give up. I think Matt was like, I give up.
No, I had to drive. I had to drive.
Yeah, he had to drive. He had to drive and make sure we didn't hit any animals because we almost did. Anyway.
Yeah, a couple times.
We got to Hedrick, which is in southwestern Keokuk County. And I'm still looking because I'm anxious. And I saw lightning. And it was red lightning. And I said, oh my God,
red
lightning. Matt almost crashed because he was like, red lightning.
What? Where?
And we saw it. And before I think Matt got out, I saw a bolt, which freaked me out. I'd never seen a bolt that far. Because this storm, we calculated it was 120 miles away at that point, and we could still see it.
119.2 miles.
Yeah. And there was one lightning strike that lit up the entire side of the thunderstorm.
Yep.
I remember you said that, and you were like, you said, oh my, you'd never seen something like that before, where it was that
no, I hadn't.
lit. Kind of, sort of. It's like
that that far away.
Yeah, and it was, you could still see it where the main storm was. We drove probably another 15 minutes. We saw a few more, but they were becoming fainter and fainter. I think the last one we saw was at about 130, and that was really faint. And we drove, and we saw the storm was starting to die out by that point. I did, because Matt was driving. And we got up to Williamsburg to buy gas, and when we got there, the storm had dissipated. It was completely gone. The outflow boundary was still there because that thing had an outflow boundary. Because why did the storm die? It became elevated. It lost it was formed on the boundary, and it kept being fed by the boundary. And once that boundary finally blew past where the storm couldn't be fed from the unstable air, it was now fully in stable air. It couldn't go any further. And so, yeah, because Matt has the thing on my thing. So let me bring that up, because I remember that Matt took this. So let me do this, and then this was when we were in
Hedrick. I think
west of
we had
Hedrick,
stopped in
the
Hedrick.
Pioneer plant.
Yeah.
This is where we saw the lightning, and you could see the storm. I mean, and even in this picture, and I'll bring it back up to. So, come on. You can see right here, and hopefully that zoomed in for you.
Yeah, that zoomed in nice, actually.
Okay, so see, we pointed it at this part. We don't know if we were seeing lightning from here, or we could have been seeing lightning from over here. Because this was where it was being fed to, is right in here. Because the boundary was right here, and then it kind of blew itself out to the south. Because you can kind of sort of see it. It kind of blew in. The only part was being fed was here. This is where the storms kept redeveloping. And finally,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, right in here. You can kind of then see it tailing off here.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The CEL and Excelsior was kind of where the boundary was at that moment.
And this storm, this was at 10:03. We stopped in Williamsburg at what, 11:30, and the storm was gone.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
This entire thing was gone. There was nothing left. No rain, no green, no nothing. It died that quickly. And we were way up here.
Yep.
So,
and that's not just and just so the viewers know, that's not just some random point. That is the GPS tag based on what my phone was picking up. We didn't just pick that point.
This dot right up here was where we were, because that was his spot. He pointed it right here. So now this is interesting, because there were storms right along the Mississippi River. So Matt dropped me off because he was about ready to fall asleep.
Yep.
So I got in my car about 20 minutes later. I'm like, I want to see some stuff. I drive out to the corner that everybody dies at.
Oh, yeah.
Here at Fawn Creek at the golf course. Yep. And I'm looking due east on what is 130th Street. And I see a bolt of lightning coming out of a cloud to the ground. And I freak out going, oh, my God. And I saw at least 5 more.
Wow. That
storm, I had no internet, because when Matt brought me home, I had no internet. But I figured, from what I could gather, that storm was about 70 miles away. And I was seeing bolts as if the storm was 20 miles away. And that scared me to death, thinking, oh my gosh. And then it was funny. I think it was 2 days later, we had storms come northwest of here, and I could see lightning from almost 90 miles away. So, but it wasn't, because I told you I was seeing storms similar to Monday. Remember? I told you that. But it was much closer than this 119.2. So, but
very wacky, very strange.
Yeah.
I've never seen lightning that far away, at least that vividly.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't see a tornado. We didn't get
but
steak.
We saw some hellacious lightning.
Yeah, we didn't get the steak at the sirloin stockade.
Yep.
Which we wouldn't have been able to anyway, because by the time we got back to Ottumwa, they were closed.
Yep.
So, anywho. So that happened a week ago Monday, almost 2 weeks ago. This coming Monday is when that happened.
Yep.
So then we'll bring up the flooding, which is that Monday storm. That storm from almost 2 weeks ago Monday was like in the middle of a string of let's have lots of heavy rain, which brought about the flooding. Well, the rivers are all falling except the Wapsie at DeWitt, which I think is cresting now. It crested today, I think. I think
you're right. This afternoon.
A couple of inches below record, which if anybody knows the Wapsipinicon at DeWitt, you'd think, ooh, it's close to a record. It's like, okay, you have to realize the Wapsie in DeWitt in southern Clinton, northern Scott County, once it gets out of the banks, it then just spreads out because there is flat land everywhere. Except on the Scott County side, it tends to slope up a lot. It tends to just flood under the Clinton County side. Because they're like, Scott County is like, yes, because we want our county line to be on the river. We don't want all that flooding. So it just flows. So the river can't go up really fast because the river just goes into fields. So yes, it's like a couple of tenths below, a couple of tenths of a foot below. But it would have to take a lot to get it back up, to get it up to that point. So there's a lot of roads that are closed down in Scott and Clinton County. And that's using water.
Sorry.
To specify the flooding. So
rushing
water. Some of the roads around here are still closed. There's several roads in Linn County still closed. And a few of them because they've been damaged.
Yes.
And one of them is not far from Anamosa either. But
if I'm not mistaken, the water is now gone from Shaw Road.
I'll mention this. Shaw Road was never closed. Not that I know.
It
I never
was.
saw those signs.
It was closed. It was. I remember it being announced that it was closed, but
I
But
never
you're
saw
right.
barricades, so I was like suspicious. But
Yeah, there were no barricades, but I remember it being announced on the news that it was closed.
yeah, I know
Once.
Lead Mine Road is still closed as of because I drove past there today, and it's probably
Yeah.
still. The river is going to fall below flood stage in Anamosa tomorrow,
Thank God.
and in the Cedar River is going to fall below flood stage. I think Sunday. Yeah.
Saturday night or Sunday.
Saturday night or Sunday. So they're going to try to reopen the bridges downtown because they can't reopen them because they put in barricades. So they're going to try to open them this weekend. So everybody can drive down there and see absolutely nothing because the river's back below. So everything is back to normal. They're going to reopen businesses in New Bohemia and in Czech Village this weekend or on Monday. Because Czech Village, as far as I know, they had no flooding. New Bo had no flooding except for the area that got stuck on the wet side of the levee that they had to build, which was a few businesses. But all of them, I think, had put their stuff up anyway. So I think damage is going to be very minimal. So my guess is going to be is the county won't even get a disaster declaration. They shouldn't because nothing happened. Except for a few bridges and a few roads getting washed out. I don't think the county would have enough damage to prove they need a disaster. Even on the state level, I don't think. The state might, but I highly doubt it. What happened further in northeast Iowa was way worse. The flooding here, yes, it was the second highest flood, but the city was so prepared, nothing really happened. I drove down 380 the day the river crested. It was actually the afternoon after it had crested. And Quaker Oats, they had closed Quaker Oats. The water didn't even get into Quaker Oats. The back part, I think it did. Cargill had a little bit of flooding, but it wasn't serious.
I wonder if what used to be called Penford Products got any water.
I didn't, you couldn't exit the interstate anyway. And then I have
there was no real way to really see because they're right there by what bridge is that? The 12th Avenue, or not 12th Avenue, but
8th Avenue Bridge.
Yeah, 8th Avenue Bridge.
But you couldn't get down there anyway because the roads were all blocked off with National Guard troops because I saw a bunch of them.
Yep.
But the traffic on 380, I hadn't seen traffic like that in a long time. And this is my beef. So I'm going to go off on this. And you might want to go off on this too. There were so many people gawking at the flooding as if it was like, woo, flooding. I remember 2008's flooding. Nobody drove that slow to look at the river in 2008. And the river was 10 feet higher in 2008 than it was this year. And the people gawking at flooding, where it was like, ooh, it's flooding like the amphitheater. That was pretty much the only thing it flooded. Oh,
and that thing's built to withstand floods.
Yeah, so damage. They have to clean it up. How long is that going to take? Like a couple hours? Because there's going to be like smell and dead fish. Because that's going to be that always happens when there's floods. There's always dead fish everywhere.
Yep. And the mud smell. It's extremely hard to get the mud smell out, and that is a legitimate health hazard. Some of the chemicals that are in decomposing plant matter, I forget what they're called. Some of the chemicals that are a byproduct of stuff decomposing, like fish and plant matter. Some of those molecules are some of the most noxious smelling molecules that are known in modern chemistry.
Yeah.
And it's to the order where you can smell 1 part per billion at a half mile away.
Oh, yeah. All you'd have to do is,
and if you get any further
said
concentration
before,
of that, then the smell becomes so overpowering that you can start vomiting and stuff like that. And we're talking in the neighborhood of 3, 4, 5 parts per billion.
Yeah.
Of concentration, which is very, very, very small. But that's the stuff that is so hard to get rid of. That's the smell that's so hard to get rid of. That flood smell. It's those chemicals and those molecules decomposing. It's so difficult to get rid of because they're very stable. They're not very volatile. Once they find their happy place, they like to stay there.
Yeah, and here's the fun thing: the best way to get rid of it is to have rain.
Yep.
Because it washes it out.
And rain nowadays is slightly acidic, so it neutralizes those chemicals.
Yeah.
It neutralizes those molecules.
So, and there's going to be chances of rain this week. So,
yay!
It was misting earlier today, so it's supposed to rain a little bit tomorrow.
I'm going to piggyback off of your traffic rant.
Uh-oh.
I think the city of Cedar Rapids, Mayor Ron Corbett, if you're listening, please pay attention to what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
It's not a huge thing, but it's something that me as a motorcyclist took very great notice of. I went to see a friend on the southeast side of Cedar Rapids the day the river crested, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, but the only way across the river was 380, obviously. And that day was really, really windy, and I didn't want to deal with the wind, so I bit the bullet a little bit, and I took 380. Where did I ride to? I think I got onto 380 at Center Point Road. I think it was Center Point Road. Yeah, it was Center Point Road. And then, or not Center Point Road, I'm sorry, but Blair's Ferry Road. And then
yeah.
And then I dropped south to Wilson Avenue. Well, when I got to the S curves downtown, of course, it was pretty nasty traffic, which at first was, it was a backup, but everybody was behaving fairly well. People were minding their lanes and their turn signals and stuff like that. People were paying attention.
Yeah, this is where it was bad.
Until I got to the Wilson Avenue exit.
Uh-oh.
As soon as people realized, oh, here's Wilson, I need to get off, it was like it turned into The Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know what he's talking about now.
And people would just start diving through lanes, trying to get over and get off the interstate so they can do their thing.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, that exit is only it's only a 1-lane off-ramp.
Yes, and it's not that long of an off-ramp to begin with.
There's just enough for you to scrub your speed.
Yeah.
There were a couple of instances, one instance this night that I'm describing and another instance 2 nights later where cars were literally stacked 3 cars wide, almost door to door. It was just a hair off of being door to door. Fender to fender. I mean, it was that close. 3 wide trying to get through there. And since I was on a motorcycle, and I wasn't the only one, I counted 4 other motorcycles around me as I was doing this. And I'm sure they saw the same thing and are having the same thoughts that I'm having right now. But they were not paying attention to anybody. They were not signaling. They were not doing anything. They would just cut over. If they were in the right side of the off-ramp and they needed to be on the left side so they can turn left across the bridge on Wilson Avenue, they just cut right on over. And I counted 3 vehicles that cut me off, one to the point where he almost hit my front tire, which I was doing about 15 miles an hour. It would have sent me off my bike, which would not have been good, obviously. But I think the next time that there is an emergency that warrants the only thoroughfare through town, through all the way through town, whether it's a flood or some other emergency, people need, I think it'd be a great idea to have literally one or two more officers watching over traffic on the more important exits. Like, for example, for this year, for this flood, it was Wilson Avenue. That was kind of where everybody said it, either Wilson or 33rd Avenue.
And we're on the other side at 7th Street.
Yeah.
Because it was really bad with cars trying to get in, going on the interstate, and it was probably as bad going off. So, yeah. The problem I ran into with Wilson, because I drove to Coral Ridge that day.
Oh, okay.
My mother-in-law were on Blair's Ferry at Burger King, and we drove then to Coral Ridge because I was like, oh, let's go see the flood. But then they'd be like, well, you're not supposed to do that. Well, we're going to Coral Ridge. That's where we went.
Right.
So we drive down. We get to Wilson Avenue. This is what pissed me off. Everybody in the right lane decides, oh, I have to get off. Oh, the road is blocked with cars. I think I'll just block the interstate. And they did. Oh, did that piss me off? Because you already had the far left lane closed to emergency traffic only. I'm like, what emergency traffic? Except for ambulances, and I didn't see any. And there were people using the left lane anyway.
Yep.
I would have said, this is an emergency. And they would have said, why? I have a stomach ache, and I'm getting to Coral Ridge Mall so I can go to the bathroom. That's not what I said that was mean. But, I mean, I do that. But so then everybody decides to use the shoulder as the exit ramp. They were backed up on Wilson because, as you said, they were doing this. They weren't doing the 6 wide, let's do a Daytona 500 photo finish business. They were doing it down the ramp, onto the interstate, on the shoulder, mind you, past the 16th and 15th Avenue bridges, the bridges on 380 that go over 16th and 15th Avenue. They were back to the 15th Avenue bridge, and they were still piling in when I drove fast. And I'm thinking, they are having a mess. I thought it needs to get to the point that if they do this, not only do they need to do what you said, what they should do is just close off. If they're going to close it off on instead of on Wilson. I'd have closed it off to 33rd Avenue. That or saying, if you're in this lane, you exit. If you're not, too bad. Start putting barricades in, saying if you want to be on this road, then you get on, and you know what I mean? If you're going through traffic to go from one side of the river to the other, and you use the interstate, well, you can't get on the interstate. If you want to get back on the interstate, you get to the exit, and then you just enter back on. Mm-hmm. Don't start screwing around with other people trying to dive bomb in and all that stuff, because all it does is ruins the flow of traffic. And I'm not saying put in the barricades clear up at Blair's Ferry. I'm talking about putting the barricades up at 7th Street where the road, where everybody had to get on. And then putting them up, keeping the one lane for those people all the way down to Wilson, and then having it exit off. But then people be like on the interstate, well, I want to get off on Wilson. Well, too bad. If you want to get off on Wilson, go to the next exit and turn around. Nothing stops you from going one exit down to turn around to go back up. Right?
Yep.
I mean, it's an inconvenience. There's a flood. People still, the businesses and buildings are going to flood, which most didn't. And your thing is, I can't get off on my exit. I mean, come on. Oh, and then this was interesting because speaking of the flood, because we're still talking about the flood, I then decided to chance it and take Highway 1 out of Iowa City.
Oh.
So
how'd that get?
Highway 1 was still open.
Really?
Barely. Because the river was cresting or it just crested down by there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those that would know this from traveling to football games, if you live in Dubuque and go to football games or basketball games in Iowa City, you take Highway 1. Most people do.
Mm-hmm.
Except Garrett Dolphin, I don't think does. But anyway, there's the Kroll Farm. That's right on the south side of it's down south of the Cedar River Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember their one son. I think it's the one son that played football at Iowa, which was Matt. Not you, Matt, but Matt Kroll. He played.
Yeah, I never played football for Iowa.
Yeah, what?
I never played football for Iowa.
Well, yeah, not you.
I went to their basketball
But
camp.
they have a farm there. It's Kroll Farms. The Gazette did a story on this a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Their house was fine. Their field, most of their field was fine. Their next door neighbor, which is right next door to them, had water surrounding their entire house.
Wow.
But their house was fine. And they must have, because they do a pumpkin patch. They had harvested all their pumpkins early and had them all out because they thought that they would lose their crop, I guess. And they didn't. But that whole field around on the back of their farm and over was completely flooded. The river was probably twice as wide as it had been. Wow. And this was a flood that was at, 22 3/4? 22 and whatever feet it ended up being. The Cedar Crest was almost 23.
Yep.
And the Wapsie and Anamosa only got to just under 23. So now I'm wondering why. Oh, okay. I'm like looking at my nice hardwood floor. But anyway. So the flooding, it didn't do as much damage. It's because I think a lot of people were more prepared. So yeah, there's still damage. There's going to be some things that are going to have to be fixed.
Yep.
So
infrastructure will be damaged. But I'd say all in all, the cities of Cedar Rapids and Anamosa probably did. I'd say on the whole, I'd say both cities did a pretty bang-up job. I think they did. I think they're on top of it. They were ready. They were definitely ready. They were on it. You know, they were paying attention. There were a few small things which at the time seemed a little bit more bothersome than probably they really are. Like the traffic thing, but that's more of a safety issue with just people driving safely instead of being considerate of flooding happening. So other than that, I think they did a pretty bang-up job. I didn't understand the whole cutting power thing before the flood actually made it to Cedar Rapids. I don't understand how that worked, but apparently they saw it fit to cut the power.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was like a rolling blackout type thing. Like they cut power to one place and then bring it back on and cut power to another place.
I think they did that because they thought a substation was going to flood. And I don't know if it did. I don't think it did. But they were being...
It didn't look like it.
Yeah. I mean, Cedar Rapids of 2008 and Cedar Rapids of 2016. I'm not talking about the flood. I'm talking about the city. Mm-hmm. Not the flood. Because the flood, yes, the 2016 flood is the second worst. But when you can look at it as second worst, it was the second highest crest. Is it the second worst flood? Probably not.
It won't be in terms of damage. It won't be in terms of damage or anything. The damage is
not even going to be close to being, it won't even be top 10.
Yeah.
The only amount of money that's going to be used, and I think this is where the city might try to get at disaster declaration, is for all the money they had to use to do the barricades, the barriers, the HESCO barriers, and all the stuff. Because that's a lot of money. Well, that's money that, and now the city is still not going to have flood planning. And then this is where it gets political. Because now I'm going to get political. Now all of a sudden you have all these politicians going, oh, we're going to save Cedar Rapids and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. The first thing I'd say is, oh, so it takes another flood to get your asses moving on stuff like this. Cedar Rapids has been bitching for 4 years now for getting flood protection, while you bitches have been sitting around making dough off taxpayers. How long is it going to take? I don't care who the president is. I don't think it's going to happen in the next president either. They're just going to sit around making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year voting for crap that nobody wants. And I think the thing about Cedar Rapids, I think they were going to try to put it into the budget with the flooding that occurred in the Mid-Atlantic and and down in the South. And I think they tried to squeeze the Cedar Rapids thing in, and I don't think it worked. So I think they've been trying, but it's almost like it brings up a point that it's not even weather related. It takes a disaster to get people actually acting on something. For example, like people die in race cars. For example, like Dale Earnhardt took NASCAR to finally say, "Oh, we should be doing safety now." It takes a flood to finally get another flood, almost as significant as the '08 flood, to get politicians in gear to go, "Oh, we should put in flood protection." Well, that's all well and fine. You had a number of years, and the city is still waiting. The clock is ticking. They're not going to wait for the next one.
Yep, I agree.
Anyway, I didn't want to get political, but evidently they had to turn something political. The only godsend is neither of the presidential candidates came, because that would have made it look political.
Very.
Thank God they didn't come, because I don't care if anybody's Republican, Democrat, or whoever. Because when people come to things, then it makes the event political. And I don't like when they try to come, because it makes it look like they're trying to get votes. And
from a disaster.
Yeah, and that is a sad state. And speaking of a disaster that's coming, because I think we're going to have, this is where we begin, the butter industry. We have to talk about this storm, which I'm going to bring in. No, well, we're going to whoopsie. We're going to bring this up now, because this is the only tropical system in the tropics right now, is this one. This is Hurricane Matthew. At this point, it's 150 miles an hour sustained wind. It's located just north of this far northeastern tip of Colombia. That tells you how far south this is. And it's expected to turn toward the north and hit the eastern end of Jamaica. This is a forecast, Jack. Doesn't mean it's going to. And then hit Cuba, pretty close to Guantanamo. It'll be just west of there. And then into the Bahamas. It's expected to weaken back to a Category 2. I doubt it. It'll probably still be a 3. Probably up here, because they have it as a major all the way to Jamaica. And then it weakens, which I think it's going to weaken once it goes to Cuba, because Cuba has high mountains. So it's going to get ripped up a little bit.
Yep.
Jamaica, if this was to go over the center of Jamaica, they have a high mountain there. That's, I think, like 10,000 feet. So that would rip it apart. So we're gonna have to see a lot of the models. I saw the WRF and the GFDL, the Global Fluids Dynamic Lab model, and I was looking at those in the GFS, which I can bring up, because let me just bring that up, because why not? Because I use this site, because I've used this site for hurricane stuff. This is at this website. It's from Florida State. So this is what I use, which gives me the WRF, GFS, GFDL, the European the operational European, the ensemble, the CMC, and then the nav gem, which is the Canadian. So, I mean, you look at this. I'll bring up. This is the 18Z WRF model for Matthew. Matthew the storm, not Matthew the co-host. And see, this is what it shows, and I'll just, because I've already looked at this. And see, goes through the eastern edge of Jamaica, as you can see right here. Goes through Cuba, and then, as you can see at the end, it looks like it's going to recurve. That's what this model says. And it looks to be fairly healthy. At this point, it would be on the evening of the 5th of October. So then you immediately go back. That was the wharf. So you go to the GFDL, which is this one. And it shows this storm. You can look at it from a wide perspective or this. Now the thing that's the interesting thing is here's the storm hitting. Now look what happens. You see that? It curves more toward Florida. You saw how it kind of jetted a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is it doing that? Is another thing. It's trying to move north, but if you notice, there's a high pressure right here.
And if it hits this location, it's going to re-intensify because it's going to run in. It's going to run into the Gulf Stream.
Yeah.
And the Gulf Stream could do one of two things. It could push it out to sea right now, or it'll steer it into Georgia.
Now this is the storm. This is the GFS. Now you can see here's Matthew, the storm, right here. The pink areas are the high pressure systems, because this is based on the lowest pressures are in blue or purple, and then the pinkish are high pressures. So take that as we move along. So I'm just going to move this. See, don't worry about this. This is just a big storm, a North Atlantic gale. So don't worry about that. That's not a hurricane developing. That's a gale. That's a gale center.
That is normal for that area.
That's normal, and then it swings back into occluding into Greenland. But okay, this is where Matthew, according to GFS, is going to hit the eastern thing of Jamaica. We pretty much know most of the models are indicating it's going to hit Jamaica. That probably means it's not going to hit Jamaica. So you look at this. Where do you think the storm would go? It could curve and try to get swept up to this, or it's going to have to wait for this one, which is what. And I might add, this center right here, there's a risk of severe weather later, early next week. Mm-hmm. So that means Matt probably wants to drive to Oklahoma.
Just saying.
Oh, don't tell me you want to go to Oklahoma. We'd have to leave at like midnight. Anyway. So
it's not a bad idea.
But you can see, you look at this. Now look what's happening. Do you see this? Now remember, this is model data, so don't get an idea.
This is kind of La La Land.
Yeah, well, this is 99. This is only 4.5 days.
This is
so this is
La
still
La
within
Land for hurricanes. I would say
for hurricanes, yes. But you look at this; it's moving north. Well, to the north is this. It's a high pressure. It ain't going to go into a high pressure. It wants to go to a low pressure. Well, there's a low pressure over here. That's near just west of Williston, North Dakota. Between Williston and Miles City. Or Wolf Point or Glendive. It's northeast of Glendive and west of Williston. So what does it do? Watch. The GFS pulls it west. It has it on the Florida coast, about at Daytona. And you can see, where's it trying to go? To this. And now my phone is going off.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And now... on my phone, and I can't hear it. Oh, it's because it's in my...
There's people so angry they're already calling you. They're so angry about your hurricane forecast. Oh, they're already giving you calls.
That's my mother. Anyway, she probably is telling me that Anamosa is like losing by 60,000 points already, which you can watch if you were going to watch it live on 9.2. Don't watch because you don't want to see anything. Oh, while I'm doing that, because I'm good. But anyway, back to this. But you see it then. You see how it curls right like that? Talk about a storm that wants to hit everything. And then it starts to, oh, that was the last thing. And then starts to curl out. it's probably gonna, if I was to take a guess, because I could probably get the GFS out even further, because this only goes out to 180 on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Would likely curve back like this to this low. So, I mean, and while I'm doing that, I could. Oh God, what's? So yeah, there's, because I use that quite a bit for.
For hurricanes and tropical weather, tropical storms.
Yeah, because it's easier to do it. So.
Yep.
Yeah. This is why. Yeah, I'll mention it for the sad thing that it's only the first half. It's about to be halftime, and Animos is losing 34-6.
Ooh.
And that game is on
Ouch.
television. Good God, why did they
Ouch.
play that game? It could be worse. Now they're playing Mount Vernon. And Mount Vernon beat a team earlier this year 70-0 or something. So at least they scored. So anyway. But I want to take me off. So there's some questions.
There's that.
Because I don't want to come back next week and we find out Matthew has killed lots of people. And you'd be like, oh, the co-host has killed people? No, the storm did. Oh. Darn. It would have been cool if Matthew had killed people. Well, he might have killed, he didn't kill any, sorry. So.
Oh. Trying to get me to get violent, huh?
No, well. Anyway.
Yeah,
no, I got pissed off because I showed him all the Sonics in Southern Iowa that he missed.
I miss my Sonic. I love Sonic. Yum, yum, yum.
So then, just to then get Matt all in a huff.
Oh boy.
We then have to talk about. Oops. We then have to talk about this. The day 5 severe.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a guess that this will end up not happening?
Well, I mean,
October events in the plains are very fickle because you never know what you're going to get with October outbreaks. In Iowa, you could go from having just garden variety thunderstorms, which are very rare, to having tornado outbreaks. But Kansas, Oklahoma, you never hear about outbreaks in the plains in October.
But this is the fall tornado season. That this does exist.
It does exist, but it's mainly in the south.
Right.
Mainly
but it's not unheard of for it
like
to be out
down here.
In the plains.
Up here, not as much. But that's with that low. Remember, I showed that low that I was pointing at the hurricane that it's trying to go toward a low. Well, that low is expected to occlude over the northern plains up here.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to get storms, severe weather up here because it's not going to be warm enough. You're not going to get dew points into the 60s up there. So it has to go where the instability will be, which is going to be down here. It takes a very dynamic storm to get severe weather even up into Minnesota in this late in the year, as we're getting into October. It can happen, but it's a lot harder to have it happen.
November 17, 2013 was a perfect example of that.
Yes, over in Illinois.
Yes.
And I've seen lots of cases where we're not talking about like Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois could even get tornadoes at Christmas.
Yep.
We're talking about way up here in central and into northern Illinois. And we bring back a point, and everybody, and Matt may have forgotten about this, that Iowa had tornadoes last year, 2 days before Christmas.
We did?
Yes. Iowa had 2. One was in Hiawatha, and one was near Worthington. They were EF1s.
It could happen.
It was the same day. It was the same day as the Holly Springs, Mississippi tornado.
Yep.
It was the same day.
Bingo.
Because all the instability was down there. Where were we? Where the low pressure was. So we had a few thunderstorms. What happened? They started spinning, and it dropped tornadoes. Were they tornado warned? No. Why? Because they weren't thinking we were going to have tornadoes. Because the Weather Service was probably thinking like everybody else was. It's 2 days before Christmas. We don't have tornadoes here. So that's the people the tornadoes hit. Because there was damage from that. And this was funny because I go back to this. They didn't specify that those were tornadoes until 2 weeks later. But the people, I think it was the Lynn County Sheriff's Department, said it was a tornado that night. Because the tornadoes occurred at like 5 o'clock. One was at 5, the Hiawatha was at 5, and the one near Worthington was about 6:15. From the same thunderstorm. That storm was it was along the squall line, but it had rotation. I remember looking at it on radar. And I was like suspicious of it because I'm thinking, well, there shouldn't be storms rotating. It's like before Christmas. So it's like, I always tell people, we might be going into October. Don't think severe weather can't happen. We had tornadoes 2 days before Christmas. Ta-da! I don't know what that was about, but that sounds like a good way to. That's the new music.
Yeah, there you go. It was actually the first two notes of the intro to Frontline.
Oh yeah, we can't have that. We're gonna get copyright strikes or something.
Yep, we are.
So
we are.
Anyway, because I don't that's all for severe weather. That's day 5, so that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That'd be Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
So, luckily for me, I don't think I have anything Tuesday. But do I really want to drive clear to Dodge City, Kansas? My God.
It could be fun.
Yeah, Matt wants to go look at stuff and wants to.
It could be fun. I'm just saying.
I'll say this for the fact because it would be fun. But the interesting thing is, and this is a slight interest. I have seen Dan and Kelly drive out there before, and they're with Iowa Storm Chasing Network now, which I'm much happier that they're there since they're going to get a lot more views and a lot more money.
And they deserve it because they're good people and they do good chasing.
Oh, and then I'd go off on what they saw during the flooding, but I didn't. That's their business because I don't want to get people. I don't want to get them because let's just say they saw people walking kids in floodwaters. Anyway, they did. I swear. Yeah, I sure you saw that too. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Anyway,
moving on.
Moving forward, people in OJ are weird. Okay, so. I'm glad I didn't live there. So, I could have bought a house there. Anyway, I've seen them drive out to Kansas before because they've done that. They were on Dodge City. The Dodge City tornadoes this year. That storm that had 30 tornadoes. They were on that storm. They caught tornadoes, those storms. I don't know what number it was because there was they started counting because Val Castor was on that storm too. He was like, tornado number 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I don't know what ones they were, but they caught ones where there was 2 on the ground at once. I know Kelly and Dan did.
Yep.
And I'm thinking they drove back home from there. And I thought when we drove back from Powersville, Hicktown, Missouri. Sorry, people in that town, but your town was creepy. I like the buildings it looked like an old Western towns. It looked all cool, but it was weird and there was people yelling. We never got to that part. About the people yelling at people. I don't understand what they were doing.
And swearing at them and
And we heard it. We should have taken video of that because that would have been more interesting. It's like, oh, the bleep's going down in Powersville. So, we left there at what? It was about, because the last video clip that I showed was at just before 8. We left probably 5 or 10 after 8.
Yeah.
We didn't get back to my house when you dropped me off because you only live like over there. He's only like over there, and I'm pointing over in the corner.
He's pointing in my direction.
Yeah, and he's probably not at pointing in mine. But anyway.
I'm pointing in your direction.
Because he's seen my house. He hasn't been in it because my house is still a mess. Because if he comes over, he's going to clean. The only room that's not clean is the basement. So, because that's where all my stuff is, including most of the baseball cards I didn't sell. So, it took us 4 hours.
Whoa.
4 hours, a little over 4 hours. It was after midnight when we got back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, if we had to stay, we would have to stay in a hotel.
Yeah, definitely. Definite hotel time.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind doing that because I don't have anything.
I don't have anything Wednesday.
Yeah, but you have anything Tuesday?
No, I don't.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be because this is going to go off because I'm going off on another tangent because as everybody knows, because I left the Weather Network because I'm doing writing now. The funny thing is, there's one book I've been working on for a while. It's about April 27th. It's a novel. It's a fictionalized version of April 27th. Using not Birmingham, it's fictional towns.
It's any town USA.
Well, no, because it's actually part of a series. It's a series book. It's part of the other books that I mentioned, the one with the murder and the one. It's a series. It's not a mystery. It's just a novel.
Oh, okay.
So it's with the same characters, the same main characters, but okay. And I'm going to get myself into big trouble with this. But anyway, one of them is named. I'm going to get myself into trouble. One of them is named, and you'll guess who it is because I might change the name of this person. Tim Reed.
Really?
I wonder who that is.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Does he scream and shout back up?
Does this character scream?
No. Does he scream and shout back up?
No.
Okay.
Does he act like the real character? Sort of. He's a more bombastic version of Mr. Timmer. And let's just say I added Chris and Joel in too.
Interesting.
Although their characters are nothing like Chris and Joel. Because and this is off topic, but it's weather related. They're former football players. So other storm chasers call them the storm bouncers. That their thing is they don't want anybody else getting storm video of their storm because it's their storm and they want the video, the exclusive. So these two are the bouncers that bounce the other people, and they'll do what means necessary to get the storm video. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Sort of. But they don't want to do it because they're only being intimidated because of Tim's bombastic things or whatever.
Yeah.
Get it? Confusing. And then you have the meteorologist, who I based off James Spann, sort of. Although, and I mentioned this, I think, 2 weeks ago, that there's stuff, and I could read the beginning, but I would have to get on. No, I think it's on this computer. Wait a minute, let me look, because I'll read it. I'm gonna. So let me get. So cool.
Ooh, we get an exclusive sneak peek at the new novel.
I could just start reading my books, and then would probably get better views. Let's just read the books, so we'll get better views. Let's see. Come on.
You'd save money on production too, because you wouldn't need me.
Oh, no, it's not on here. Boo-hoo.
Fail. Epic fail.
Well, let me... Yeah, because the thing is, I haven't put anything back on this computer because this was... I don't know why... Okay. I haven't put anything back on this computer yet. Okay, yes, thank you for telling me you can open apps. I guess I'm sure that got put out. Like, ding.
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah. So I don't know why. So I'd put it. I'd have to get out the other computer, and if I turn the other computer on, since they're networked with each other, if I turn the other computer on, that's not going to like this computer.
Ah, gotcha.
Because they're networked. So, I mean, yeah, that means I could then get onto the other computer. Well, it's not that way. It's the Wi-Fi connection. Because when that computer turns on, it turns on the Wi-Fi connection on that computer, and then that will wreck this computer. So,
which will shut down the show.
Well, wait a minute. Now I got a better idea.
Oh boy.
No.
Oh boy.
The book is on this little baby, which I'll bring the video out. It's on this. The
hard drive.
Yeah, it's a mobile. It's my. So I will, because this I did. Yeah. Sorry, people, that I'm doing a mess, because this is called on the fly stuff. Come on, EUS people.
On the fly, off the cuff, completely unscripted.
Now it's probably gonna say it has to. Oh yes, it has to It has to look at this. It's my backup drive. It's I think it's a terabyte.
Ah.
It shows all my old stuff. No, I don't want to scan it. No, it's not on here. That's surprising.
Oh boy.
So I'm gonna have. No, I don't. No, I don't. Yeah, this is what I get for trying to. Come on. So yeah, I'm.
Hey Jeff, I just got a phone call, and I need to take it, so I'm going to get off really quick.
Okay. I'll probably be done before you come back. So.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so
bye everybody.
Matt's leaving because he found out that his storm is probably going to be a Cat 5 soon. So we'll let him go to the phone that he has to go, because I finally gave up on my hard drive at this point. So anyway.
Okie dokie.
So yeah. So
right.
Matt's gonna leave and at this point.
Bye bye everybody.
Yeah, he needs to get on the phone. So anyway. So next week, depending on what we're going to do with what happens early in the week, it might become the Jeff and Matt are now going to argue show, where we'll probably discuss stuff that happens on if we do what we're going to possibly do. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. Anyway, so we'll probably discuss Matthew, the storm, and whatnot. So thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next week. And I'm going to do something before we go, because I'm going to do something, because I'm going to see if this is going to work or not. So let me see if this is going to work, and it's probably going to tell me. So let's see. So we'll see you next week. And so goodbye from everybody here.